welcome viewers. We're going to go on with From Widow to Wife of a Narcissist. I've lost count of how many videos I've done now on Lisa. She's just been discarded. Let's see discarded for the second time. Let's see what's going on.
I wouldn't let him. And he knew that I had
now,
some
she just said she wouldn't let him near her bank account, but she's bit mixed up because she sold the camper and everything so he could pay off his motorbike loan.
Stuff that I was holding back, and he wasn't able to control me. But that threw me for a loop.
And that's the second discard. That's what she's talking about. She's been told to go. She became combative, and he's gone, "Nup, you're out." She never handed in the marriage papers when she was supposed to. She dodged and weaved. Men ain't going to put up with that. I don't care if they're narcissist or what. That was just wrong on her part, wouldn't you say? How would you like it if you got married and editor? How would you like it if you got married and you didn't hand in, and I wouldn't hand in the marriage papers? No, right, exactly. Well, I knew a woman that did that to a man. No, not me. No. I wouldn't tolerate it. You'd be straight out the gate. But, yeah, and he never knew that she hadn't handed in. This is what she told me. I would have killed her. I would have, not killed her, but, there would have been words. Anyway, this lady's been discarded for the second time. She reckons that because she was stubborn. She wasn't stubborn at all. She's sold the camper. She's probably neglecting her dog who come along. She's left the daughter behind. She hasn't listened to the parents' counsel. And hang on.
I should have shouted hallelujah, but I didn't. I hurt so bad. I don't think I've ever known hurt like that. Abandonment. I felt completely abandoned, unlovable. I hurt so bad. My family...
Now, let's just get this in its right perspective. Okay, let's just get this in its right perspective. This is the worst hurt she's ever felt because she's been discarded by someone that she completely dislikes, that sold her camper after having an affair with another woman in it. She sold a camper for him to pay off his motorbike loan. She married him after the affair. She reckons he smoked and drank like a fiend. And she has never ever felt abandoned or basically lost like this before. Now let's put it in its right perspective. Didn't her husband drown? Didn't her husband just drown? Now, if I was her daughter and I heard her talking that about this fiend and how it's the worst thing she's ever experienced, and my dad drowned, if it is the father of the daughter, because you don't know who the fathers of these children are a lot of the time. It could be the first marriage. The second marriage was the guy that drowned. This is the third marriage. But how wouldn't you say it'd be worse if you get a phone call and your partner's died? I know being discarded's not good and all the rest of it if it's really for no reason. But there was reason. She wasn't handing in the marriage papers. You'd be straight out the door with that kind of behaviour. And women do it all the time.
Family didn't even recognize me.
Of course the family didn't recognise you. They didn't recognise her all along. She has just turned the whole family upside down for this bloke.
I had friends who came to my rescue.
That's the flying monkeys. So here come the flying monkeys. They're going to enable the disabled. They're going to enable the... these are the enablers.
And they joined up and they moved me. And they got me out of the house. I found a mini storage place. I put all of my stuff in mini storage. And I moved in with my mother to take care of her.
Which
And
was part of the plan. If you look back at the original plan, she knew the parents were there. So that was her plan B. And it come off. It was like the prophecy being fulfilled. This is all part of the fantasy. If things don't go the way as planned, right, remember she's just been discarded because of, you know, she hasn't handed in the marriage papers, and who knows what else. She said she's stubborn. Men ain't going to tolerate that. Now, part of the prophecy, part of the, you know, the motivation, I'll be up near my parents, is fulfilled. How many times do you see this? Now she's living with the parents. Come on. Open your eyes, viewers. Come on.
stayed there to help her so I could figure out where I was going, what I was going to do. I mean, I would have easily went back 900 miles to where I came from, to my family. That's what I should have done.
Well, why didn't she? She's going to answer that by the sound of it.
Sadly, all I could think about was him. And my mother was there, and she was not doing well, so I couldn't leave. I didn't feel like I could leave her. Sadly, it was probably an excuse.
Okay, she just admitted it. There you go, viewers. That's why a lot of these women shouldn't do videos or have, YouTube channels, because we learn too much. She's just thrown herself under the bus. The excuse, she only used the mother as an excuse and a convenience, basically, to be able to stay there and work out where this fantasy that's turned into a nightmare, and she's contributed to that, is going to end up.
That was my excuse not to go home, because I was so wrapped up in his emotions.
Okay, so listen, if you're the daughter, who's the narcissist? She had every opportunity to go back and straighten things out with the daughter and all the rest of it. But she had no intention of doing that from the day that she left. Right? We're talking about a person, I'll say it again, is a smoker, a drinker, has no money, lives with his mother in covert emotional incest, has had an affair, has apparently convinced her to sell the camper to pay off his motorbike loan, has discarded her twice, probably caused that herself to some degree, and has had every opportunity to go back and get that daughter back on track. No. Is that a selfish person or not? Please put it in the comments. Is that a selfish person? Or is that a person in trauma bond and, no. We got the trauma bond going on, all right, but you can still think. People, women, this type of woman is loving the toxicity as much as she hates it. Well, you say, how can you say that? Well, what's she still doing there? Let's see where this goes.
He did that to control me, and I didn't realize that. I had no clue. Actually, I just realized that a couple days ago.
So hang on. If you discard somebody, that's not controlling the person. That's throwing all caution to the wind. All right, she'd already been discarded once. Yeah, okay, she'd come back. But that's not a guarantee that she'll come back again. She didn't hand in the marriage papers. She was becoming combative. She said it herself. He's kicked her to the curb. And she's floating around in the background. He knows that she should go back to her daughter, and she's not doing that. She's so predictable, this woman. Right? She is so predictable. I said that before. This guy has nothing to lose. She's made it too easy. Is that his fault? I don't think so.
Because of a lot of your comments. Here, I'm just telling my story. But many of you have been through this, and you've done a lot of research and a lot of study on this. So I started doing some research, and I found out, oh my word, he just did that. He just did that because he couldn't control me. So he was waiting for me to come back.
No,
Sadly,
he did that, you said it yourself, because he couldn't put up with you. At that point, you got him to the point where he's kicked you to the curb. All right, I'm interested to see where this goes, because does she hand the marriage papers in? Does she put a tail between her legs and go in the opposite direction and get these marriage papers? Like, this has got to do, there's a lot going on here that she's caused. Viewers, are you going to walk up the aisle with someone? Like, okay, I had this girlfriend and I gave her an engagement ring, editor, and she wouldn't wear it. So I took the ring back and kicked it to the curb. You don't do that to somebody, right? Now you times that by 100. She's walked up the aisle with this bloke and it's all out of order. The minister shouldn't have even performed the service because the paperwork wasn't there, and you have to sign section 66 when someone gets married with witnesses. Editor? The witnesses have to sit there and sign on the marriage day. Well, this minister's married them and they haven't even got the paperwork. So he needs to be locked up. Like, oh, come on. Now, if I had a woman that was dilly-dallying around with those marriage papers, she'd be discarded. No questions asked.
I did. I sure did. We were separated for about a month. And sadly, during that month's time, all I could do was call him, beg him. I was playing right into his hands. I moved right back in.
Now, can you imagine the family at this stage? They've come and rescued her because he's discarded her. Editor? They've come and rescued her because he's discarded her. She wouldn't hand in the marriage papers and she became combative, right? Not for no reason. They've moved her out. The flying monkeys have come along and moved her out and got her in with mum to look after mum. She said that was an excuse herself. I moved in with mum as an excuse. But it was also part of the plan. When she left 900 miles away to go up and be with this bloke, she knew she had mum as a fallback. And this is what covert emotional incestual people do. Right? They'll hook you into the relationship, and if you leg it because you know something's not right, the void that causes, they just fall back onto the mummy. Right? So they've lost nothing. They've just lost an element of intimate supply. All their emotional supply is locked up in the fusion of the DNA enmeshment. Right? So she's jumped back in with mum and that. She's had all the support. I've seen this. She's had all the support of the family to get her out of this, and now she's going back. She's defying the whole operandus of the whole thing to get her out of it. He sold the camper. He's had an affair in the camper, right? Let's see where this goes. Come on, Lisa.
We might have been separated a month, maybe 2 months, I'm not for sure. He immediately replaced me with somebody else.
Well, he had the right to do that. That's love and war. Okay, that's love and war. He'd done it before. I don't know what she's shocked about. When she flew 900 miles to go and run the business, she... Hang on, we got a hiccup here. Oh, the camera's gone out. Fuck. Why? So she's defied the whole moti operandus of all the effort in the family to get her out of it. And how often do you see this? Okay, now you can call that devotion, loyalty, you can call that commitment, all the rest of it. But it's definitely not sanity. It's definitely not love unless you love the devil. right? So why is her blindness regarded as sane? It's obsessive. It's an obsession, and she said that herself. She was obsessed. Now, does that automatically make him a narcissist? It does if you don't want to admit that you're obsessed. Right? I would have thought that if he was the one not wanting to sign the papers and things for marriage, that she'd jump with that. That'd be case closed, wouldn't it? But not with this woman. No, she's going to put up with anything. Does that make him automatically make him a narcissist? No. So if she's wanting to be with someone and she's devaluing everything he does, isn't that what the problem of modern day femininity is? They narcissize their way out of their relationships. Instead of just walking away and saying, look, you're a fiend, you smoke, you drink, you got no money, you live with your mother, I'm not doing this anymore, you've taken all my money, whatnot. It's one thing to stand there and say, well, this person's a narcissist and stay in it. But don't you have to be accountable for staying in it? Right? There's a point in a relationship where if people are just being negligent by way of commission, he had an affair, or omission, he's not doing what he's supposed to, or she's not, you walk away. Right? If there's no meeting halfway or anything like this, or development towards something that's better, you have to walk away. To sit on here and say, and I'm going to repeat this, that being discarded by this fiend has been more traumatic than her husband drowning accidentally by an accident. No. I know they're two different dynamics and the trauma bond does cause terrible things, but could you imagine the editor, your husband drowning or being ditched by a fiend? The drowning is gonna, well, not to this person. This is the worst pain she's ever felt, and that's what she's building a video on. People are loving it. Oh gosh.
She didn't have what he wanted and couldn't get what he wanted, so sadly I'm waiting there for crumbs. So I ended up going back, and this was probably about September. We went back together. I'm gonna look at my time. Got a little bit more time. I'm trying to go through this a little bit quicker. So about September.
Okay, so basically she was orbiting she was orbiting the narcissist until he'd finished with the girlfriend. Is that rational or sane to you guys? That's sin. That's this obsessive compulsion that sin drives you into. Now, with the Pharisees back in biblical time, people don't realize this. The Lord drove them to sin because no one can keep it. All right, it's a complete set of do's and don'ts to cause you to sin, to show you that you have a sinful nature and that you need a savior from yourself. And she talks about Jesus and all this. And with all that knowledge, right, if you parallel that with the relationship, she could not find her way out of the arousal and the deceitfulness and the deception, the way in which sin was taking her down the narrow path in this relationship, the wide path that leads to destruction. That's what sin does. It just holds you in a direction that's opposite to where you're supposed to go. That's why they call these kind of relationships a sunken investment, because you can't get the time back. So she's orbited this guy after all of this, after the family getting her out, after everybody coming to support her, she's completely thrown them under the bus and defied them, and said she was waiting for the breadcrumbs, and she gets them when the new supply fails. Right? The rebound usually never works. I can't say every time it doesn't work, but in this case, he's come back. She's gone back. Reverse Hoover, call it what you like. To me, at this point, they're both narcissists, both of them. She's just as much a predator as what he is, because she stayed in orbit, deliberately at the mother's place to stay in orbit until she could get her foot back in the door, and that's where we're up to now.
Yeah, it was September, all right. August, September. Of course, he decided he was going to come to my rescue now, and he's going to help me, and he's going to move me back in. He's going to pay for me to move back in. Isn't that nice of him? So, he's paying for me to move back in.
Now, can you see how, excuse me, viewers, can you see the undervaluation of what the motive of all this is? The point here is, and we see this all the time, this happens all the time, this isn't no unicorn event. This is happening every day, thousands of people are doing this. She was glad he came back. She's making out she's a victim, right? She's making out it's all so bad and she's a victim and this, that and all the other. But she's happy to go back. She ain't hesitating to go back. Now you got the family all standing there scratching their heads going, we can't waste any more time with this relative. We've got a black sheep on our hands here, right? She is just black sheep. We can't help her. We've offered our resources, our time, and she's defying the lot of us. That'd be my attitude. So is this man as bad as what she's saying? There you go. Put it in the comments. Is he really as bad as what she's saying? Because if he is, why would you go back? Does that make him the problem or her the problem? Who's the problem here, really? I think if you sat and spoke to the family at this point, they'd say her. Not him, her. We can't help her. And I don't think it's a matter of saving her from him. We're trying to save her from herself.
Gets a little bit of help. I hire movers. He don't hire movers because I had nice furniture. I don't want my furniture beat all up. He didn't care. So it's just him and a couple drunk buddies. And
can you?
They moved all my stuff back in. My dog, Miguel. Remember I told you about Miguel? Sadly, Miguel loved him. Broke my heart, but Miguel actually liked him.
I'll tell you what, look, I'll be honest with you. If the dog liked him, he couldn't have been too bad, because dogs pick up on people that are bad. You might say, well, the narcissist knows how to maneuver and get on side with things. No, people that have got respect for animals and that kind of thing, it tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about people.
The dog better than he treated me. He liked the dog but didn't like me.
Okay, so if he didn't like her, why is he moving her back? So that he can be with the dog?
Anyways, so we moved back in, and I find is in September. I'm headed to back home where my family is because I do an event there. 900 miles, I'm a balloon artist and face painter. So
so now we're going round in circles. We're going back 900 miles to the daughter and everyone else. All right?
Went off to do this event, and I gave him a bunch of money because I had been doing events, around town and things. So I give him money, pay the bills. I'm trying to show him that I am worthy. I am worth it. I'm not too hard to get along with. I'm not, I'm worth it, because he told me I wasn't worth it. I wasn't worth the grief or the pain.
Because she hadn't handed in the marriage papers. She was being dishonest. She was being unloyal. She was being combative. There's more to it. And I don't know any man that would put up with that.
Anyways, so I'm giving him money. So I put all this money, that I gave him, paid the bills up for the month, and gave him extra money while I go out of town to work and make more money.
So basically what you've got here is somebody that just doesn't want to learn from their mistakes. Okay? She shouldn't have been giving him money. She shouldn't have... Remember, he couldn't manage the money, his own money. All right? So what she's trying to do now is saying, look, I can support you better than your mother. Basically, she's got to be competing against somebody here. And it would have to be his mother.
Now, I had forgotten that his brother, who's quite like him, himself, they're a lot like each other. The brother ended up crashing into my new car. Not a new car, but it was new to me. And he crashed into my car and he damaged it. He tore the front of it up and he didn't want to pay for it.
You know what? You can't make this stuff up. These people sound like a pack of absolute idiots.
Imagine that, another narcissist who doesn't want to pay for it. So,
hang on, just because he didn't want to pay for the accident doesn't automatically make him a narcissist. That's just an out-and-out grub.
He was married. His wife would not. She paid the bills and she paid the insurance, and she would not take out a claim on her insurance. She denied it, even though I turned it into her insurance, denied it. So she made him pay me. And he was giving me so much per month until he paid me off so that I could get my car repaired. I knew how much it was going to cost, and so he was giving me that money. And he had been giving it to his mother, leaving it at his mother's house. And
this is the mother, this is the competition, this is the mother, right? The one in covert emotional incest with the son.
Just assumed his mother was getting the money, and when I got enough, when I knew it was paid off, I would go get the money. Well, he had paid up his mom and paid up everything that he owed me. I was out of town. I get back, and some time went by. I still didn't know that he had paid it off. So my narcissistic husband / I didn't sign the marriage certificate conned me in to marrying him again.
She's got to be trolling. She's got to be trolling the internet, just getting numbers. There's no way. Oh, come on. No. So the mother's got the money, apparently. That's going to be spent. Like mother, like son. She's in with the wrong crowd, right? The family's probably screaming at her in the background. Can't you see the hillbillies you're mixed up with? Oh, no. And now she's going to marry him again. Excuse me, I'll just consult the editor here. She's going to marry him again on the premise that she didn't hand in the papers the right way.
Because we did not sign those marriage license. So we went down to the court, filled out new marriage license, and they're like, oh, you're that couple. We have your marriage license, and you had till the end of the year to renew those or mail them in. Well, that came and went, and we didn't do it. So it was time to renew So he talked me into marrying him again. Sadly, I did.
Hang on. Would you let somebody talk you into marrying them? No. No. This...
I am ashamed to tell you that I actually married the man again. At the Justice of the Peace, the courthouse.
But to be honest with you guys, at this point, she needs to be taken away for treatment. Look, in all honesty, if this story is what she's saying it is, really, can you imagine the family in the background? Oh, she's marrying him again. Like, that would just, the devastation, the confusion and the trauma that would have caused her family and the flying monkeys who have dug her out. Now she's gone back, and within 12 months apparently since marrying him the first time, she's going to marry him again. He's had 2 affairs. I mean, at this point, somebody should be coming along and taking her away in a straitjacket. Because this is not the normal behaviour of a person in their right mind. It's just not.
Immediately, he takes me to the Social Security office. And that, because he knew...
No, not immediately he took me. Immediately we went to.
That if he didn't get me to change my name and mail those papers in, that it could be possible that I wouldn't again. So immediately he took me down to the Social Security Department.
No, immediately we went down to the Social Security Department. Like, she's going on like she's a prisoner in Auschwitz, being led by a Nazi to go down and get the tattoo, the number of the tattoo. Right? This woman needs this is honestly, I'm starting to doubt it's as bad as what she's. No.
And I filed and changed my name, and I've become that. I've been that name now for, it's about 2012. I still carry that name. I'm getting ready to get rid of that name. I just had some business that I had to go through, and a lot of people, that's my business is ran by my name, so people know me by my name. So now I have to change my name, but that's okay. I'm going to. Anyways, so yeah, he hooked me into marriage. Marriage number 2 to the same one.
So hang on a sec. She's saying he hooked her into marriage. No, I'm just not buying it at this point. Because at this point, she would basically have the family on the verge of just declaring her insane. For all counts of what she's saying, and this is her 4th marriage, right? Twice to the biggest fiendom of them all, and this shows us that there is an element of woman that loves toxicity, right? It's not even sane at this point.
And it was good for a while.
So you can see the cycle. You can see how it cycles. It's good for a while, that's a love bomb phase, and then it's going to devalue. All right?
When I say a while, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. Come Christmas, we're getting ready for Christmas. It was disastrous.
Yeah, because Christmas and birthdays and things like that, obviously I believe she is in with somebody with some kind of definite disorder, narcissistic, be it whatever. They always wreck birthdays and Christmases and all that kind of thing.
What had happened is my mini storage had been broken into. Make sure I'm not running too long on time. My mini storage, because I kept a mini storage because I didn't trust this man. I married him, but I didn't trust him.
There you go. There you go. So if you marry someone, excuse me, editor, if you marry someone and you don't trust them, what are you doing marrying that person? Right, that's immediate. That's an immediate pathology. There's something wrong there. If you don't trust someone and you marry them, that is just not. No, that's wrong. That's covert deception. Right? Do you want to call that female covert narcissism?
And I had close to about $10,000 of Morgan dollars from the 1800s, early 1800s. I had these, they belonged to my previous husband. I had other
so somebody's known about this. This is an inside job, just for the record.
things in there that I would not bring to the house. And I didn't fully move everything back in. So I kept some things at the mini storage. And my mini storage got broken into. And guess what was taken? Interesting.
Yeah,
I had
it's an inside job, Lisa.
them there because I was waiting for my daughter to come in town so that we could go to the bank and open up a safety deposit and her name would be on there. But sadly, my mini storage got broken into, the lock got cut, and what they stole was a box that I had it packaged up right there in the front, was my coin collection. And my husband had a large coin collection, and he stole it. I know it was him.
Obviously. That's 101. Only those that know that it's there are those that are going to take it. And can you imagine what that looks like to the daughter? I mean, Mum, are you completely stupid? Right? This has gone beyond bad choices. You're in with the wrong crowd.
It was him. The reason that I know it was, at first I didn't believe it was.
Oh, it was.
But
yeah, she didn't believe the family telling her it's him. It's him.
He was having an affair with the woman before me that he was sucking dry. He was having an affair with her. And
so now he's hoovered and gone back for the woman before her. So this is the third affair.
She believed his garbage. And so she reached out to me and told me that he had given her things that belonged directly to me. Because when I would leave town, my things were in the house. Jewelry. I sold jewelry, earrings, necklaces, brand new stuff in boxes. And she would be there at the house with him while I was gone visiting my children and working, and he would be having her there. And she told me, she showed me a picture of it and said that he said he bought it from he bought it himself, and he bought it from an antique store. The antique store he bought it from was mine, but he didn't buy it.
He stole it.
His daughter, who was 7 years old, when I came back into town, she told me about it, and she said, Daddy gave so-and-so your earrings. And I'm like, what? And I go looking for them, they're gone. Earrings and several other things, because I had some beautiful paintings that my husband had bought me while we were on cruise ships together. And now they belong to this other woman that he gave to.
So at this point, viewers, who do you blame at this point, in all honesty? I'm not being unfair to this lady or anything like that. But at this point, who do you blame? All right, the family be sitting there going, she deserves everything she gets. Okay, we're now past devaluation. We're just going to rob and steal, and in the end, what's he do? He kills, steals, and destroys. Steals, kills, destroys. That's the devil. She's in with the devil now. She's married the devil. Right?
We confronted him about this, his 7-year-old daughter, and he looked his 7-year-old daughter in the face and called her a liar. He called her a liar. I can't even imagine knowing that something is actually absolutely true, and your father is telling you that you are a liar.
Well, that's what her daughter would have been telling her when confronting her. All right? Everybody's run into the ground by this relationship. All the flying monkeys, relatives, children, the lot. Okay?
It's unbelievable.
No, it's believable. It's believable.
As I go through this painful situation, I want you to know that there is hope and there is help, because I didn't stay in it. Sadly, I stayed in it longer than I should have.
Well, you know, she's going to go into all the hope in Jesus and all this sort of stuff, who she knew all along. You know, you're going to have to put in the comments what you think about all this, because at this point, with everything that's happened, I don't know if this woman did get taken away by somebody to get help. Now, you can say, well, it's PS, post-traumatic stress disorder, they took her away with. But if it was, she inflicted it on herself. Because if you're in a snake pit and you've been bitten and you've survived, right, why would you go back into it? And that's what people are doing. I dealt with people in cults, and they're blinded by their devotion and deceived by their devotion, loyalty, committedness, and everything. Nothing's lining up, but they're remaining devoted. And that happens in relationships. You can be devoted by the goodness of yourself. You can be deceived by the goodness of yourself. I'm going to wrap it up there, viewers. I'll see you on the next one. I don't know when Lisa's going to surface again, but she reckons she's going to do a 4. We'll go into that. Thanks for coming in, and bye for now.